Okay, so next we have to start routing the area around the microprocessor. And what I'll do is I'll just move that processor down a little bit, just so I've got more space now. Okay, that was 2.25. I'll undo that. Move and change that to 1mm snap. I don't want to have such a fine snap there. So that's roughly in the center. It doesn't have to be in the center, but yeah, I don't know yet how much space I will need on which side. So I'll just use center as my starting point. And I'll go back to my 0.25 snap. And let's do direct connections. All direct connections we can do without major issues. So it doesn't matter where you start. We'll start on the bottom here. And I'll start running those connections. So that one comes around, but I'll start with this one. And I'll make sure that how close can I get there? Look, I'll just do a reasonably direct connection first. Now I'll drag this line up a little bit to make a little kick in it. Yeah, that's it. Now let's do the second one. And the second one, you really want to get them close together in a way. But what I'll do is, I don't like when they come in an angle like this. This is not an issue because it's a big pin. But if I really want to sort of make it a little bit nicer, I can just go like, oops, hold on. I need to select my tool. That's it. Okay. I'm clicking too quickly sometimes, and it gives me. Okay, so I can get them pretty close together. Now I do want to have them close because I'll have to cross those two lines. We'll have to cross them, which means the closer we've got those tracks together, the easier it will be then to cross to the other side. So I'll keep them at this distance, and then we can adjust it later. Next one, I can actually come from here, go down, and just run it in. I don't want to run it this way. I prefer to run it this way. Next one, again, let's just connect it through there. And the next one, I can make it a little bit prettier later on, but at this stage, they are running together, so that's all fine. Now this one here, we can run it up. And what I'll do is at this stage, I'll just run it like this. I want to avoid this area next to, I want to avoid this area. That corners, they should be left alone because that's where you normally put your stitching bias. And this is not pretty, that track, but let's just keep it that way for now, and then I can adjust it if I need to. Now those two are crossing to the other side, and so at this stage I want to leave them out, and I'll route them last after I do all my direct routing. So now down the bottom here we've got this one here, which is PD7, so that's the same as this one. I'll probably come down because I want to leave some space there. Okay, I'll route it like this and move this segment over here. The reason why I'm running it together here is because of those lines that we have to cross. So I'm trying to make this as easy as possible to cross to the other side. Now 6, that's this one here again. So what I'll do is I'll route that 6 parallel to this one. Oopsie, it's a little bit temperamental, so I'll just have to do some stops on the way. Route them together. It doesn't matter that they together in this area, probably not, but yeah, that's fine. I'll just leave it there as it is. What else? That one, 5, yeah, we can definitely route this one as well. So I'll just come down close to this one, and ideally I want to connect it like this. Then we've got our 5-volt capacitors. So I'll move this one down here a little bit because I've got direct connection there. So I'll just move them out of my way for now, and later on I'll reposition them. Oops, cancel. Okay. So next, I've got those 3 direct connections there. Easy. I'll do them first. And now this one, I have to run it up. And I'm not sure if I'll need this space. I probably won't need this space, which means that I can actually run it directly like so. I can just keep that big gap there. So that's okay. On this side, we've got those 2 little tricky ones for analog to digital pins. And I'll leave them out for now. And let's see if I can actually connect the ones I can connect directly. So those 2 are a little bit tricky. I'll just escape and I'll move those. Actually, that one goes here somewhere. I might need more space here, so later on, so we'll do that. Okay, so I'll connect this one, and because we need space for those 2 capacitors, I'll just run it like so. Next one, I'll run it like so. This one, and that one. Now that one, I did get a little kink there. I trying to straighten it up, it's not easy. So what I'll do is I'll delete that one. I'll delete this little segment, and then I'll use my track to go from here. Doesn't want to really connect. After some fiddling, I might actually go the other way and connect from here to there. That's better. Sometimes you have to fiddle a little bit to get them to work. Now, we also have a couple of capacitors here, which at this stage, I'll just move them out. Oops, double clicked accidentally. And we've got those 2 pins we can connect. So we're trying to do all the easy direct connections first, and especially that those are multi-purpose input-output pins. So we don't know what type of signals are going to go through. We do direct connections to as many as we can, just to make sure that it's we've got a sort of good good tracks for majority of them. Now, do I want to go out here somewhere or bring it in closer? I probably need to bring it in closer, but anyway, I'll connect it to, I'll just run connection like this for now. And the second one, I'll just run in parallel. Later on we can decide what to do here. Now this connection, it could be just direct diagonal, it could be with a kick. At this stage actually I don't need that kick, so I'll just make it direct, and then later on we can adjust that, because somehow we have to pass the reset pin right through to the reset pin over here, which means that we need to cross those lines later on. What else do we need to do? We've got some connections. Let's do this part, the switch part, because that's a little bit tricky. That's a programming header, and we can see that all those pins are crossing that line there. We could basically say, okay, let's just run those pins directly in, and then this track, we could put it to the other side to go around them. But I think the programming header is a sort of secondary. This it's part of a programming header. Actually, all those pins are the same, so it doesn't really matter if we go from the pins here or from the pins there. They serve the same purpose. So you have to decide if you want direct connections from here or from there. Saying that, programming, the speeds are not that huge. You are still limited to cable lengths there, and with programming, the good thing is that you can actually slow down your programming speeds. So you don't have to program it at a high speed. If you have some sort of track issues, connection issues, whatever, drop down the speed and the programming will go on. So not a huge issue. So what I'll do is I'll connect what I can here. And in this case, I do have one direct connection, which is that clock. So I'll go from here and connect there somewhere. I don't know how to connect there yet. I'll just use that little kick there to connect to that point. Oh, we'll see later on. We can sort of tune it up. And that's pretty much it. Okay, direct connections. We can also do direct connections here. So with the switch, this switch, those pins are connected internally, but what I'll do is I'll create that connection between the reset pin 1 and pin 1 on my PCB as well. Just run it right across. From there, we've got a reset, ground, reset, and 5 volts. So what I'll do is I'll move this resistor up and this capacitor down. The resistor itself, I'll rotate it. Again, 5 volts. And this will allow me to, basically, I'll position it here somewhere, to connect my 5 volts directly to my rail there. And now this is the reset connection, which is the same as that. So I'll rotate this one as well. And what we can do here is something which is not pretty, but it's effective. It's going to work. And this is just, let's just connect those two together. And now we can just run track directly from here to there. Done. Now, that's not pretty, but this is a reset, which means we are pulling the pin up or down. The debouncing capacitor makes sure that when the switch switches on, you don't have multiple signals coming through. It's a single signal. This is the pull-up resistor. Nothing too fancy. We don't have any sort of communication signals coming through, which means we're not going to get reflections of those corners. So the T-junctions, you should normally avoid, but you can't. A lot of times you can't. Putting the track in between those pins internally, we're not coming off the top of it, we're coming inside. That's fine because it's a large component, large pads. It's not going to get skewed. It's not going to, that track is not going to affect its positioning or anything else. So it's fine. It's not pretty, but it's fine. Now, we have to run this reset over there somewhere. So we'll just leave the rest of it off. But what I can do is I can make sure that I change my class there to 0.25, the width, and I'll just connect this resistor to our power line. Now, I've got my power switched off, so if I switch it on, it should show me all the 5 volt connections which are not there, not not done yet. For example, this one here, 5 volts, and some other connections like this one here and so on. So I'll leave it on. Ground, I keep it off because we don't need to actually worry about it at this stage at all. I'll zoom in, and this is it for this part. We can still create this sub-circuit before we start crossing to the other side. So maybe I'll do that before I break this recording. Now, ACD7, 6. 5 volt. I need to rotate this. And I need to rotate this one. We do have some issues because we need to cross those two connections are crossed. We don't want them crossed, we want to uncross them. And the tricky way to do it is, and what I'll do is, our RxTX communication, because it's not that critical, I can actually make a bit more space here. So what I'll do is, I'll select that track and I'll move it down a little bit. I don't want to get it too close to the PD2, but still I can make some space there. And now this one I can bring in closer, much closer. That one here. Cancel. Okay. And yeah, we can sort of adjust the track lengths here if we want to, but let's just bring it in and yeah, have them running like this. So what I can do is I need to uncross those, which means that if I run ADC, it's got to be a little bit tricky with that space. I'm just thinking, how can I make more space here? I could move a connector, I could move this chip, but yeah, I'll leave it as it is and see if I can squeeze it in. This is also 5 volts. So yeah, we'll see what I can do. First, I want to run track from here out, and this is not the way, that's the way. Okay, not pretty. I can make it a little bit better later on. Now, now with this track, I can cross it going through this component here. So I'll move this component up a little bit. And look, I'll have to clean it up later on, but if I just run track from here, I can go through that component in the middle of it, between those two pads. There should be enough clearance to do that. And then I can run it out. I'll just leave it as this, enter. So I've uncrossed those two lines. Did I uncross them? Yeah, because we've got 5 volts there. Then we can go through, and yeah, we should be okay. Yeah. Now 5 volts. I'll use my thinner track there, and I'll go from 5 volts. I can go out here and run it in, and then connect it through there. So I'm trying to connect from the ends. And now this little track there, let's just improve on it because I really don't like the way this looks. So I'll delete that one, and I can just stretch this one. Can I stretch it? I should be able to, yeah, stretch it and connect through there. That's okay. This connection is okay. We're coming in between those two pads. You can see that we are very close to our clearance zone here. We can change our grid there and move that track exactly in the middle, but we are still clearing it, so we are fine there. And we are on this side. That's okay. Now, second one. If I go from here, I'll just what I'll do is I'll connect through here, and now from that point I'll just run it here somewhere at this stage. So this is what I can do on the top layer. Now I'll have to think of how to do the other connections. Okay, I've missed one. This is the 5 volt there. So I'll change that back to normal net class, because you want to put as much power as possible through there. So you don't want thin track. You can use the thick one to connect. That's done. And save. Okay, most of it's done. We still have some tracks which unfortunately will have to cross from one side to another. I don't think we can do direct connection to anything else right now. So yeah, let's just leave it as it is. I'll finish this recording and then we'll continue with all the tracks which will have to switch to the other side.